Okay. Kayla got the 111, the 411. Sipping lemonade, throwing light shade. Okay.
Oh, wait. Oh, just take a break. Oh, wait.
Hey everybody, it is Kayla Got the 411. I'm back for another What's Good episode. Today I have Cor.Ece with me. He is all the way over on the West Coast. Thank you so much for joining me. Now on this segment, because it's called What's Good, I like to ask everybody what's good with you. How have you, your family, and your team been, especially with COVID? And pretty much they are kind of they're taking it serious over there. I wish they would do what they're doing here in Georgia, over there where you are.
Yeah, what's good or what's goody, as we say. And I would say a lot of things, right? Like this whole thing, whenever I talk to people, I always have to say, this is how I'm doing today. Because every day is a little bit different depending on how I'm feeling. There's been a lot of sort of, just on a personal level, there's just been a lot of like, how's my mental health doing? How's my family doing? Like, because there's a lot of, for me, living here away from my family. I'm originally from St. Louis, and and so I'm away from a lot of my family, although I do have some here. It's just a lot of solitude, right? But that's on one end, that's the nature of being an artist, and creating, especially, recording artists. There's a lot of things that you do alone. So it's been a lot of just sort of keeping up. I feel in a lot of ways more connected with my family because we've been checking in with each other more. There's been a lot more FaceTime and a lot more of that, and just really finding out what I really value in this time.
I definitely think that, especially with COVID, so many of us is in the house. It's half and half when I asked artists on this show. Half of them said that they really got to the music. I heard some artists say they were doing a song a day. And then a lot of them said their mental health wasn't really good, so they couldn't really write or anything. So what was the move for you during this whole COVID shutdown thing?
Yeah, it was... That's a good question because I remember when it first happened, actually, my family and I, we had gone on a cruise like maybe a week or two before the shutdown, and nobody knew what it was. Nobody knew, you know what I mean? Like, we knew who was in office at the time. So there was a lot of things that weren't very clear. And so I remember getting back and everything was just shut down. There was like no work, no nothing. And I was like, all right, I came back to my place all alone, and I was like, let me use this time to redecorate. Let me really work on some, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me work on some things that I had been putting off. And so I did that for a while. And then once, I felt like my space was a kind of where I had been wanting it to be anyway, I did delve into the music, and it allowed me to record some things. And, I just started working officially on the roster of a label called Razor and Tape, based in Brooklyn. And really I believe that, being kind of locked inside allowed us to really figure that out and work on some music and kind of solidify that. And that's something that I've been trying to do, for much of my career. So that was it's something that I'm very grateful for, that happened. So it was a time where I was sort of really focused on sort of my glaze, on music. And then I think lastly, I did really think about like my mental health and things like that, because I had an opportunity. I was sitting with myself and all of my thoughts. So
yes, it really made you kind of evaluate, especially kind of noticing everybody that was falling ill, just seeing the deaths, and the deaths are still going up. So I hope none of us never forget that. I have the vaccine. I just got it because I just rather be safe because I'm a mom.
Big up to you.
I know, I'm fine so far, maybe I hope in 20 years,
I know. Hey, it was worth it. I have it too.
Yeah. So speaking of your music, like, when was it for you where you said to yourself, music, I'm going to pursue this?
Yes. So I had kind of two bouts with that. One when I was young. Growing up, I sang in a choir, chamber choir, not gospel choir though. Like, and because people was like, "Oh, did you sing gospel choir?" Like, I wish I sang a gospel choir, but I was more like a chamber, singing like Italian and things like that,
Yeah.
Gershwin. And so it was that, and then I had my own kind of like rock soul R&B band with some friends, and then so it was kind of growing, and then I had a manager and things like that in high school, and then I sort of went the other way, went to film school,
Wow.
worked in the film business for a long time, film and TV, and I would say maybe about 7 years or so ago, I ran back to music because I just couldn't really let it go, but I had to, I
Yeah.
think, return to it on my own terms, and the way that I wanted to, and really just be like, an adult, and like, really know who I was before I went into music, because this industry can really, really suck you up and swallow you if you aren't really, uh, clear on who you are and what you stand
Oh,
for. And
I'm
so,
so happy you said that. I was talking to an artist yesterday, and she was talking about that you really got to know who you are, especially with the labels and the fans. They can really swallow you, and you're not confident in who
well,
you are as a
especially
person.
now, I saw somebody getting ate up on Twitter today. I was just like, oh my God. I was like,
Hey, they come for me, but I got thick skin, so hey, I brush it on off.
I don't
Now,
come for me, y'all.
When I actually came across your music on Instagram, this segment, sometimes labels and managers, they say artists to me, but I always say if I reach out to an artist, I mean, you really are special, and your music really just caught my
Thank you.
eye. Like, I went on your page, it's like a rabbit hole. I go on your page, keep listening, then I go to your YouTube, then I go to your Apple, and I just keep listening. I'm so happy that you were able to be on this show with me. Now, when it comes to your music, how would you describe your sound?
Yeah, so the ongoing description is hopeful electro soul. I think that I ride with that because I find that it's true. I find that, I am always searching for hope, right? Like, as a person who kind of grew up in very sort of tumultuous childhood, and always sort of thinking about surviving. A lot of joy, a lot of fun, a lot of beautiful times too, don't get me wrong. But at an early age, I knew that life was about, surviving. Janelle Monáe says, it's a cold war. You better know who you're fighting for. You know what I mean?
Come
So
on.
like,
Yes.
and that was something that I recognized like early on. You know what I mean? And so that I'm always sort of looking for that light and hope, and hoping to share the hope.
Right.
And I think hopeful electro. So electro, I think is more about the sound. You know what I mean? That you hear, that kind of modern tunes and instruments or beats or whatever, and then the soul. You know what I mean? Like, it comes from my soul, it comes from my heart. No matter what you think, or no matter what you think I am, or what I should
Right.
be, or anything, like it really comes from a real place. And I think you can definitely see that when I'm performing. It's just like,
Mhm.
my band knows that, like, it has to feel a certain way in order for me to kind of get into it. Because I am one of those people, don't get me wrong, and I don't know what you want to say about it, but like, if I'm on stage and I ain't feeling it and the audience ain't feeling it, I'll go home. Like, I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. It's like,
Yes.
How much have you grown now? You want to hold on? Just tell me how long.
I'm saying, like, cause
I
why?
love
Why?
that. And your latest project that you put out, I Tried. I think that was just such a bold like statement. You had singles on there like Wonders and Why, Prosperity, and Nine Lives. Now, Nine Lives, that was a song that I actually went back to and listened again, because you opened that up
Mm.
with a very, very deep statement where you pretty much talked about almost dying at the age of 5 by playing with a gun. So, what was your whole mindset when you created this project, the title, and even naming the singles?
Yeah, so I Tried is, entirely about, the effort that we all have put in this last year, especially, but even beyond that, right? Like, I think it's about the ability to find a way to move on and go forward, and just saying I tried. You know what I mean? Sometimes like that is enough. And when I think about the tracks, like each track kind of, you know, it's about a different effort, about, you know, it's sharing a certain vulnerability. I think you mentioned 9 lives, and you know, it's saying that, you know, yeah, the hook is, you know, if I had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 lives, you know, I used them all up, so I can get it right. You know what I'm saying? Like we all make choices, and sometimes, you know, they propel us forward, and sometimes they aren't the best choices. But you know, once you acknowledge that, you're able to kind of recognize it, and hopefully learn from it, and move forward. And so it's about really sharing that. And then, you know, and propensity to fall is on there. It's just like propensity to fall is really just about my sort of not really ability, but my falling is something that I can do just like anybody else, right? Like you know what I mean? Like, and so it's sort of about that, you know. If I fall today, that ain't got nothing to do with tomorrow, you know. Like, I don't have to hold on to that.
I love that. I think that's just such a great message, especially these days. Like, social media has us all thinking that we're all just so perfect. We all just wake up just feeling so happy, running through flowers, and we all just wake up looking beautiful. But we, you know, some days we just have our days where we fall, where we just can't really get up. But just because you have a particular day where you're not in the mood, tomorrow is going to be a different day, the day after that. So I love that. Especially our generation needs to hear positive messages like that.
But ain't got nothing to do with tomorrow.
So, you know, I feel like these days when I listen to music, men are not as vulnerable as much as we women would probably prefer. Like, how do you feel about the state right now of R&B? Like, everybody's kind of being like, I feel good music, but it's okay to be vulnerable and just put your heart into it. Like, how do you feel about the state of R&B right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mixed bag of many things, right? I think about people that I like Black, and you know, Frank Ocean. You know, those are two
Frank got me through some hard times.
Tell me about it. I think talk about that offline. Like, same. Like, I think I can't remember the Blinded, I think it was, and I literally listened to that album for 24 hours straight. Like, it was just on repeat. I just like stayed in bed and listened to it. Like, just a beautiful experience, honestly. But I think that, you know, when it comes to, you know, R&B music and particularly men, I think that, you know, we are often socialized not to be vulnerable. Like, it seems more, you know, we're told that it's more attractive to, you know, to have a wall and to, you know, have a cool factor. You know, I think about, you know, a lot of, even though he's not, you know, R&B, but I think about a lot of, you know, Outkast, right, and a lot of their music. And even though they were hip hop through and through, I think that what, you know, Andre 3000, what he was able to do a lot of times was kind of, you know, turn what we expected men on its head, and just be like, yo, like, we don't have to be this. We can also talk about the street stuff. We can talk about what it's like, you know, going to the mall and to the club and all that stuff. But like, who are you really underneath all of that, right? And so that's what I'm interested in, is sharing who I am underneath all of that. And I think any of the people that I work with, that is my expectation as well. It's just like, yo, like, what is this about? What are we doing? What are we talking about? You know, and it's cool to be cool sometimes. Don't get me wrong, but not won't have to be that all the time.
Yeah, cool. You can be cool and express your feelings too. And I always feel like, you know, some artists is like Tink. You know, Tink is not as mainstream as everybody is, but she can make me cry about somebody that I haven't seen in like 8 years because she's vulnerable and she's putting a heart in there. But it's like it's still good music, you know. And I just wish we really can get back to that. And I love your work, and that's what brought me to your work. What is your whole creative process? This is my favorite question. Like, do you go into the studio? Do you already have your lyrics ready, or do you just have to fill out the music and put the lyrics to it?
Depends. It really just depends on what's going on, right? So I sort of get to songs or the heart of a song in different ways. Sometimes I'll get the music prior to from a producer or something, and they'll send it over like, yo, what do you think about this track? And usually my first question to myself is there anything that I can add to this, right? Like, this is something that's given to me, but like, yeah, I might like it, or maybe I don't like it, but like, is there anything that I, as an artist, as a musician, as a singer, as a vocalist, as a writer, that I can add to this? And then when the answer is yes, then it's like, all right, then usually it's like finding the melody. Like, to me, like, the melody is the most interesting thing to find first. And then usually the melody is attached to feelings, and then feelings spawn words, and then words kind of obviously creates a structure, whether it be the hook or the verse or the bridge or whatever it may be. So that's usually kind of how it is. Sometimes I have lyrics first, but I'm one of those people who I don't like to hold on to feelings, and I don't like to hold on to like a process for a long time. So like writing prior to like recording something, even though I have like little snippets on my phone, like of things, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have like a whole album in my phone already. But I don't really, like, look into it a whole lot because I like to complete it. Once I start it, I like to complete it.
I like that approach too. I like asking that question with artists because all of you on this segment have so many different. I even heard someone said that they just what did they say? They pretty much said that they already have a big old book of lyrics and then they just match up the instrumental. And I thought that's impressive too because you got to go through so much. But I guess it also depends if you have a producer that you work well with. They can sometimes kind of create that sound for you because they kind of like you work or you piggyback off each other's energy. So I really love asking you all that question. So you mentioned earlier about your band. You utilize a lot of instruments in your music. That's the first thing that I heard. I'm a big fan of electronic music. I love dance music. So I heard all of those. I heard all of those. So have you been getting back to performing? Kind of that we're kind of opening up. Have you been doing any performing?
Well, a little bit. I just dropped my first concert, and in the collaboration with Obvious Magazine, and so that was a labor of love and creating it. It's just like all the pieces came together in terms of like the crew and my band, everybody being able to do it, and just like working with Guest Jeans to provide the the threads. As well as this new platform for artists called Panther. And so that is kind of what I've been able to share with the world thus far. And in terms of performing, I had like the regular kind of gigging hasn't really happened yet. I'm actually heading to Croatia soon to perform over there. And then you brought up sort of dance music, and it's with a house dance label called Defected Records, and they have a festival called Defected Croatia, and it's kind of this big, that's what takes over really the country essentially. Yeah.
I can just imagine myself out there just dancing, just circling around.
Just all day. So I'm like performing and then hopefully just dancing for the rest of the week. That's the goal. And so I think slowly revving up. And I think as the year goes on, there'll be more. And then the goal is in 22 is to, really hop on my first road tour, especially because I'm with this label now.
I'm looking forward to that. So as you've been doing music for a while, like what's one thing about this music industry that you wish you could change?
Please sir, write another song. Please sir, can you turn it on? Ooh. Please sir, sing if you could. Please sir, just make it good. from. They just want their hand off.
That's a good question. I think that I think there's room for all of us. You know, I think that if there's anything I could change, I wish the process was a bit more transparent for people to figure out how they can find a place in it, right? Like, you know, a lot of times, you know, business career, you go to business school and then you know work, you intern and you work for a company and then like, you know, that track. But when it comes to the music industry, there's so many gatekeepers and so many people who are, I don't know, maybe afraid to lose their place or think that they know what people want to hear. And, you know, I think that for me is really allowing space for all of us. And also recognizing that, like, yes, we're artists and we're musicians and things like that, but we also come through the door with different skills and different understandings, right? Like sometimes, you know, I do other things with labels too. Like you know, Honey Dijon is a artist, one of the biggest artists on Defected Records, classic music. And I did some creative art direction for her project that I also sang for and wrote for. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like,
I heard that
different things that we can do. Yeah. Unleash. Yeah. So Honey Dijon put out a song called Unleash that I'm featured on. And for folks who don't know, Honey Dijon is an amazing producer and DJ who's known literally all over the world. And and I think it's finally getting her just due. And every time I look around and she's in something like Calvin Klein campaign or something like that. Yeah. And so Apple Music commissioned a song for Juneteenth, and it's Unleash, and so it's only on Apple Music. And so for folks who haven't checked it out, please do. And it's kind of, you know, it's just about just, you know, the open. I always have to sort of reference the lyrics to just kind of open it up for folks, but like open lyrics is like, who ain't trying to breathe? Like everybody's trying to breathe. Like we're all, you know what I mean? And like we're all trying to just like, you know, take our breaths and live. And, you know, a breath taken away anywhere is less breath everywhere. And we don't want that, right? And so I was able to kind of get on that track with Honey, and super proud of it. So that's what I would say. Just like there's room for all of us in this business.
Yeah, that's actually kind of learning that even on my side and the media side. You know, I feel like times have changed where it doesn't have to be just one R&B artist for a label. You know, there's a lot of opportunities for everyone, and someone else doing the same type of genre you're doing is not gonna stop your bag or your talent or anything. And I think if we all just understand that there's room for both for us, it'll make things so much easier. It really would. You don't have to just fake those friendships and connections. And especially, I'm not sure you living out there in LA, you know, we're going to work together and then you never hear from them again.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say that, because I don't know, you may not even be talking to me right now had I really leaned into that sort of just being exasperated and overwhelmed and tired and disappointed, because I had met this producer named Snake Child who ended up producing my first album. And when I had met him, he had said, yo, we're going to work together, give me your information. I had heard that so much. I'm just like, I just can't do it. You know, I can't do this anymore. And I did.
I feel you. I'm hearing it over here and I'm like, you know what?
You know, but he reached out to me. I didn't reach out to him. And I think I really needed that. And it was sort of put the wind back in my sail, because I think at that time I might have been like just a little bit, you know, like I said, overwhelmed with doing so much and getting so little. And I know that really happens. And I just urge people to keep going, take time for yourself, but, you know, figure out how you can keep going. And, you know, I just because you might have to pivot for a second doesn't make you any less talented or any less of an artist.
Yes, I love that mission. I had to tell myself that because I took a little 3-week break from content. I was doing too much. You know, I got to the point where it was January and I had interviews all the way up to April. And I said, okay, this is too much. So I love that mission. Something I'm trying to keep in the back of my head. And I hope others who are listening also take that advice. So what is next for you? Do you have anything coming out that you can kind of give us a 411 on?
Yeah, this is about the 411, right? Gotta come with that.
Yes.
Well, like I said, the concert for I Tried is out, and that is something I really want people to check out because it comes from just like a really heartfelt place. And I think if you have anything inside, you're gonna feel something watching that. I don't have an official date yet, but I have Razor and Tape is a super dope label that I just started working with, based out in Brooklyn, and we're putting out my first EP, and the first single is called Possibly Impossible, and it's going along with that hope, right? I can't let it go.
Yes,
But
I love the way you I'm real big on how people title their music and their names. Like, I love it. And I think you got to catch people's eyes and stuff, kind of getting them a little tease of what they're going to get. So I actually love that single.
Yeah, it's so that is something I want people to look out for. So that's where I am right now.
Well, it was so nice meeting you. I tell everybody,
You too.
once you're on this segment, I'm always supporting. So anytime you have stuff coming out, I'm always sharing. And I also have a playlist on Spotify and Apple called What's Good. All of you artists singles are on that playlist. So every time you have a new single, I'll put it on there. So I'm always here to support. So if you have something coming out and I catch and I see, I'm going to share it.
Hey, y'all.
Okay?
Just want to say thank you so much for watching the show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, share, and of course, hit that subscription button. I am grateful for every view, whether you like me or you don't. And don't forget, I got a podcast too. There are exclusive episodes on that podcast, so don't forget to go check that out as well. They're on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora. Baby, I'm everywhere, okay? And follow me on social media. I'm Kayla Got the 411 on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr. Baby, like I said, I'm everywhere. Thank you again for watching the show, and I'll see you on the next episode of Kayla Got the 411.